For years, LockBit hunted companies from the shadows. Hospitals, factories, city governments, law firms. Then, something almost unthinkable happened. Investigators slipped inside LockBit's own servers and forced the cartel to watch its empire collapse in real time. On February 20th, 2024, visitors to LockBit's leak site didn't see threats to victims. They saw a seizure banner from the UK National Crime Agency, the FBI, Europol, and a long list of partners. The hunters had hacked the hackers. And what makes this case different is not just that a ransomware gang got hit. It's that law enforcement reversed the whole logic of cybercrime. Instead of chasing shadows from the outside, they got inside the machinery. They took the control panel. They exposed internal data. And months later, in 2024, they publicly tied a key developer to the operation. If you like seeing how these crimes are actually unraveled from the inside, subscribe. Every week, there's another real case where the documents tell a much darker story than the headlines. LockBit wasn't just another ransomware brand. It had become the most prolific ransomware operation in the world, built like a criminal franchise. Core operators ran the platform. Affiliates used it to break into targets, deploy the malware, and split the profits. According to the US Department of Justice, the group hit more than 2,500 victims in at least 120 countries, with around 1,800 of those in the United States alone. Investigators say the damage ran into the billions. What always gets me in this case is the scale. We're not talking about one crew kicking in one door. We're talking about a criminal service business, polished enough to recruit, negotiate, extort, and pressure victims at industrial speed. It looked less like a gang and more like a startup built in the dark. That matters, because Operation Cronos did not just seize a website. It punctured the illusion that LockBit was untouchable. The public-facing blow came in February 2024. But the real story started earlier, quietly, while LockBit still believed it was the one doing the hunting. According to officials, investigators had penetrated LockBit's environment before the takedown became public. They weren't just watching from the sidewalk. They were inside enough of the infrastructure to gather intelligence, seize admin capability, and map how the operation worked. Think about that for a second. A cartel built on secrecy lost control of the one thing it needed most, its own backend. This is the central lesson of the case, in my view. Ransomware empires look terrifying from the victim side, but from the inside, they still depend on servers, credentials, chat logs, wallets, routines, and human mistakes. Strip away the mythology, and you get infrastructure. Infrastructure can be found, it can be seized, and sometimes it can be turned against the people who built it. Urgent. Once the seizure was live, authorities did something unusually aggressive. They didn't just shut the site down and disappear. They used LockBit's own leak site to publish updates, taunt the operators, and release information about the gang's methods and structure. The reversal was public, humiliating, precise. If your whole reputation depends on fear, what happens when the stage itself belongs to your enemy? If you were running a company hit by a group like this, what matters more to you? The arrests or the fact that investigators can seize the gang's infrastructure and break its aura? I'm curious which one you think actually hurts a cartel more. And LockBit's public response made the moment even stranger. The group tried to project control. It claimed backups existed. It suggested the damage was limited. But that's the problem with getting exposed in public. Every statement starts sounding like panic management. By this point, investigators were not just dismantling systems, they were dismantling credibility. In ransomware, reputation is currency. Victims pay because they think the criminals are organized, patient, and capable of making things worse. Once that image cracks, the whole business model starts wobbling. When I read through the official announcements, one thing really stood out to me. The operation was designed not only to disrupt attacks, but to strip away mystique. That was smart, because this kind of criminal brand feeds on inevitability. LockBit wanted targets to believe resistance was useless. Operation Cronos was a public argument that the opposite was true. Then came the names. In May 2024, the DOJ announced charges against Dmitry Yuryevich Koroshev, a Russian national accused of being a LockBit developer and administrator, using the online handle LockBitSup. U.S. authorities described him as a central figure in building and operating the criminal enterprise. The Treasury Department also sanctioned him. A reward of up to $10 million was offered for information leading to his arrest or conviction. That detail matters, because for years, LockBit often felt almost faceless. A brand, a logo, a stream of victims. Putting a real identity into that picture changes the story. It tells affiliates, rivals, and future recruits that the shield of the alias is thinner than it looks. But here's where the case gets darker. The seizure banner was only the visible layer. Authorities said they had obtained a huge amount of data from LockBit systems. Source code, chats, victim information, affiliate details, cryptocurrency addresses, and records tied to the operation's inner workings. So the real twist is this. The gang that built its power by stealing private data ended up losing its own. And that creates a second reversal. Every ransomware cartel depends on trust among criminals who can't safely trust each other. Affiliates trust the platform to pay them. Operators trust affiliates not to expose them. Negotiators trust the whole machine to stay hidden. Once investigators get inside and start pulling records, everybody has a reason to wonder who will flip, who will vanish, and who was logged somewhere they didn't expect. Have you ever noticed how criminal organizations online still collapse for old-fashioned reasons? Fear, ego, sloppy operational security. The medium is digital. The weaknesses are human. By August 2024, there was another major development. Israeli authorities arrested Rostislav Panev, and U.S. Prosecutors later identified him as a LockBit developer, allegedly involved in building tools and infrastructure for the gang. The criminal complaint described years of technical work linked to the operation. In other words, the takedown in February was not the end of the story. It was a door opening, and investigators kept walking through it. That's another piece people miss. These operations are not movie endings. They are pressure campaigns. Seize servers, exploit intelligence, unmask people, arrest when possible, sanction where arrest is not possible. Keep turning a hidden network into a shrinking one. Meanwhile, the victims behind the headline remain easy to forget. LockBit and its affiliates were linked by authorities to attacks against hospitals, schools, businesses, and public institutions. Every one of those intrusions meant real interruption. canceled appointments, frozen operations, delayed payroll, days or weeks of chaos. Ransomware stories often get told like scoreboards. They aren't. They're closer to a siege, where the civilians are accountants, nurses, teachers, and patients. My view is that this is why the LockBit case matters beyond one arrest. It shows that cybercrime enforcement works best when it attacks both capability and mythology. Not just the servers, not just the suspects, the aura. Because fear is part of the weapon. And if you've stayed with me this far, leave a like. Not for the criminals, obviously, but for the fact that this case proves something rare. Even the most prolific ransomware cartel on Earth can be forced onto the back foot when investigators get patient, coordinated, and bold enough. One last question sticks with me. How many other groups still look invincible, only because nobody has revealed how fragile their infrastructure really is? That's the uncomfortable part. Operation Cronos was a win. It was not the end of ransomware. LockBit spent years making victims feel watched, cornered, and alone. Then, in 2024, the Watchers were watched back. Their own control panel became evidence. Their leak site became a billboard for their defeat. Their aliases started turning into names. Gone was the illusion that they could only hunt. Now they could be hunted too. If true crime tech fascinates you, subscribe and join me here. This channel follows the indictments, the infrastructure, and the details behind the panic. Because the real story is usually not how the criminals got in. It's how the system finally turned around and closed in on them.